Hey there, it's Laurie Smith of lauriesmith.com, and today I want to kick off a series where I'm going to be sharing some of the things I've been learning from all of you, everyone who's been participating in my flow challenges over the last several years since the start of the pandemic. And if you're not familiar with my flow challenges, you can check out my video that's what is the 28-day flow challenge. But basically what we do in these community experiences, and they're free, so you can go to my website, lauriesmith.com, if you are interested in joining us for our next one. But we choose a joyful activity, and we just use that as sort of our first habit that we're introducing into our lives, and we're sort of experimenting with what works for each of us uniquely. And many of you have been generous enough to share with me what you've been learning about yourself and your own process along the way. And so the number one thing that has really stood out to me is that the block, the thing that seems to come up again and again as the number one thing that blocks us from getting into either a flow state, which is that amazing state when we're so engrossed in something that we sort of lose track of time, or that keeps our lives from flowing in a positive way. Instead, we might start to have like a start-stop or a block, then flow, rather than like an overall feeling that we're right on the path that we're most meant to be on. What seems to cause that most of all is our inner chatter and our inner critic. And I think what a lot of us have done, myself included, is either deny that part of ourselves or be unconscious of it and sort of letting it run the show without realizing that we are, or kind of pretending that if we do everything right or follow someone else's formula, that this aspect of who we all have it, an inner critic that's designed to keep us safe, that it'll somehow go away, or that we'll somehow be able to figure our way out of it. And I think the first step to really creating a life that flows and really learning how to master the flow state as a regular way of life is really coming to terms with this inner critic, really finding our own unique way and having fun with it, to accept that this is part of everyone, the human existence, and to see how we can work with our inner critic, how we can live in harmony with our inner critic so it no longer becomes a flow block. And so this week's suggestion is to just be aware and maybe even develop sort of a fictitious personality for your inner critic. You might want to give it a name, or just sort of be aware of that part of your brain when it crops up, rather than looking at it as ourselves, who we are, our identity. Just sort of creating just a little bit of distance and just observing from a state of curiosity how this may or may not play out for you. So that's the challenge for this week. Check out my video next week for another thing that I've been learning from all of you. And my book, Leap With Me, A Creative Path to Finding and Following Your Creative Voice, Your True Voice, has a lot of prompts and fun ways that we can work with this inner critic. So if this is something that really resonates with you and sounds like something you'd like to explore more, you can also check out my book. And I'll see you next week.